It's Tuesday, October 12th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who believes Dan Levy's getting just a little annoying, J.P. Shadrick.
I don't get that one, but welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. That's Joe Fortunato. I'm J.P. Shadrick. We have a show ahead of us today. It's called Jaguars Happy Hour on a Tuesday afternoon, a final look, thank goodness, at the Titans and the Jaguars, 37-19. Let's get this thing out of here. And our first look at Week 6 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. The Jaguars host the Miami Dolphins. It will be the Jaguars' first appearance at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium after the previous 7 games in London have been at Wembley. Everybody was off from the International Series last year, and they're back at it. The final London game this week. They played one there last week, the Jets and the Falcons. Then at 5 o'clock, the Urban Meyer Show at 5 o'clock with head coach Urban Meyer joining us on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jeff Lageman in with us, as always, on Jaguars Happy Hour on this Tuesday. It's 0-5 logs. It's 20 in a row logs. That's the third longest losing skid in league history, unfortunately.
It's bad enough that losing on all that front, but then I don't even get the open. So, I mean, I'm 0 for 1 on the show.
You were the same way. You didn't get that?
Totally over my head.
Joe, we're going to give you an opportunity to try to explain this, but I don't know if he even wants it right now.
Yeah,
it's
Eugene Levy's son, Dan.
Who
Levy.
who? No.
You don't know who Eugene Levy? Oh, see now, no.
I don't either.
You don't even get it.
What year is this?
I don't either.
What are you talking about?
How do you guys not know who Eugene Levy is?
Was he
well, tell me who he is, and
give
I'll
us a
tell
hint.
The dad in American Pie.
Okay. And if you said the dad in American Pie, I'd be like, okay, I know the guy.
Okay.
His son is in a show named Blank
Creek. Got it. Okay.
But he's in every commercial that's out there now.
Okay.
You don't watch much television.
No, I don't. No, sorry.
Me either.
No, I'm in radio. This is a radio program. Radio Land.
I needed a haircut. I appreciate that, Joe.
So let's get to football, shall we? We could continue talking about that if you want, the way things have gone the last couple of weeks around here. But
I thought we were going to talk about the other creek, the one you're up sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's the show's name, is that. So, hey, didn't go well at all last week. Defensively, communication issues. Offensively, had some moments, but, it was a mixed bag at the goal line situation. They had a throwing touchdown, a quarterback sneak. They were that 4th and 3 inches to go that everybody's talked about. All of that happened last week, and, it just feels
and a
like
bad start.
Yeah, bad start. Bad start.
There's and I think that's the one thing that, as you start to progress through the season, you'd like to start to get certain questions answered. I mean, that's, part of improving as a football team. You get better, okay, we're working on this part of it. And there are some things that I think are improving and things that are getting answered. For example, the tight end situation with the Jaguars, I think it's much improved from where we were at all the way back in the offseason. We were going, holy cow, they couldn't find somebody to get better at that position. But I think the combination of the guys that they have now, I think it's good. But the turnovers continue on. There's questions about personnel adjustments. There's questions about play calling. There's questions about the communication level on the defense. The second half performance still kind of is lingering as a big question. That to the point where your turnover differential in the third quarter is minus 42. I mean, that's a staggering number. I mean, so a lot of these things you want to start to see minimized and disappear, and I think that's one of the things that makes you go, okay, you want to really do a deep evaluation of this and say, okay, are things going the way we want them to go? And I think that Urban Meyer's got his hands full right now.
A lot of questions. You mentioned the word question about 7 times there. That's never good with that many questions.
Well, no, I mean, that's my point is that, and look, you're a young team and you're rebuilding the organization, and you've really don't have a whole lot of draft equity helping you along. That's the reality, and that's difficult to overcome because, look, scheme is great, coaching matters, players matter the most. And when you've got great players, you can win a lot of football games. When you don't have great players, it's hard to win.
Let's hear from a guy that we really think could be a great player. He's already on his way. It's quarterback Trevor Lawrence. After the game on Sunday, it's not gone well so far, obviously. He knows that. He's the first to admit it, but he does know it's a long season ahead.
Can't get desperate. You gotta just keep going to work, and we're going to win some games. We're going to turn it around, and we all thought today was the day we're going to get that first win, and it wasn't. We didn't execute enough down the stretch, but we're going to figure it out, and we're going to turn this thing around. It's going to be a lot of fun when we do. But yeah, locker room, we want to win, and all the guys. We got so many hard workers, and everyone's so invested. It's not a team where you got guys that aren't really committed or don't care. Everyone's all in. So.
Just always feels like he's got an answer. He's got the answer. He's got the right answer. And that's the guy you want to go to work with.
He's very mature. And I think it's easy to be a winner. It's easy to be a front runner. But it's always more difficult to handle in times of difficulty and times of stress. And I think he's handled himself marvelously. And look, you don't want to have a good loser. And you can tell that it bothers him and it matters to him. And he's working incredibly hard, but he's got almost a level of wisdom that's beyond his years. When I was 22, man, I would have had zero chance of having the composure that he has. And I think that this is part of the reason why many people viewed him as a generational prospect, and one of the reasons why he's probably been so incredibly successful throughout his entire life, going all the way back to Little League, I guess. So I feel really good about him, and because you've heard so many different times and through the years about high draft pick quarterbacks and the prospect of losing them. You know what I mean by that, right?
Wasting the opportunity with them.
Well, what I mean by that is that a lot of teams there's different philosophies on a young player. Do you play him right away? Do you let him sit and learn? And many people say that you can ruin a young quarterback if he ends up not having any success early on and all he does is get beat up physically and mentally and every other way. This young man is clearly prepared to handle this from the get-go. And I think that makes him incredibly special as a player, because it takes a certain psychiatric way to handle that. You're the face of the franchise, and you're trying to turn things around, and you're dealing with something that you've never had to deal with, but he's just handling it incredibly well. And the best part that I love about him is that sometimes with young quarterbacks, you see how it affects them, and that all of a sudden they take almost a step back sometimes because they have some failures, and then they lack confidence, and they're not sure, and then they start maybe trying it a different way. Maybe they start pressing, and you don't see any of that with him. He's still the same calm quarterback in the pocket. The way his body works in the game is still really strong. The more experience he gets and the better they get around him, the better he's going to be. And I have nothing but confidence that this is a future star in the making.
Just go play, be patient with him, and continue week to week to see some improvement here or there and step up the ladder. And
you just got to make sure that you do the right things around them.
That's right.
And because if you don't, then it's hard for anybody to have success. You got to have the pieces in place.
One of those pieces, and some of those pieces around him have changed since the season has started, of course. The offensive line has a couple injuries now. There's a big injury at wide receiver with DJ Chark down for a while. So some new faces coming in. One of those new faces is tight end Dan Arnold, who spoke with the media today. He had 6 catches in last week's game, his second game with the team. He's been around the block a time or two, at least for a few years in the NFL, and feels like he can help a young quarterback settle in.
It was a good week of practice, and that's kind of what gives you the confidence more than anything to be able to do that. I think having a little bit longer time just to kind of work with the tight end coach, everybody with the offensive coordinators, and a lot with Trevor as well, just kind of iron out details of like, okay, this is what you're thinking on this route, or this is where you're going to expect me. Just kind of, there's little nuances that are different with each offense, and just trying to get him as comfortable as possible because, this is his first year in this craziness of the NFL. And there's a lot that goes into it, and something I noticed, and trying to give him pointers and everything that I can as well. Stuff I picked up from other quarterbacks that I've been with that have been successful. But just having that good week of practice, I think more than anything helped.
A lot of that stuff is things you would think of doing in training camp. Off-season program, figuring that out. He wasn't around here though. Of course, he was in Carolina. Got traded in a couple of weeks ago, and here you are. And, he's been around since 2018. He was with the Saints in his first year in his career, so working with some big-time names there, of course. Arizona, part of 19, and New Orleans, and then Arizona in 2020. That was his best campaign as a tight end, and then started with Carolina this year in 3 games there for the Panthers before coming over here. So he's, as he said, you see a few different quarterbacks, different ways to go about it, a lot of success. Drew Brees was in New Orleans at that point. Kyler Murray's first year in. I mean, those are some guys who can do it at a high level.
First of all, the school that he came from, Wisconsin-Platteville.
Yes.
Help me out with that. Okay.
It's in Wisconsin.
It's
in the town of
Platteville.
Platteville.
is big-time college football.
Yeah, it's Division III.
It's Division III.
Yes.
Okay, so he comes from a small school. He bounces around a little bit. He's learning the process, and from what I understand, he was a hurdler at some point in his past. I mean, so he's got some athleticism to him, obviously. And from the first time he stepped on the field in Cincinnati, he made you take notice because he has a speed and a suddenness about him that is just different than most of the tight ends the Jaguars have had recently, and that's impressive. To go from a couple catches in the Cincinnati game in a matter of a couple days to, maybe a week and a half later, all of a sudden he ends up with, he had, like 5 or 6 catches in this past game.
6.
6 catches in a game. Credit to him to learning the system so quickly, and then also Tyler Bowen, his tight ends coach, who I'm sure worked tirelessly with him at teaching him, and I like him. I mean, I said this earlier today. I'm going to say it again. If you traded him for C.J. Henderson straight up right now, you got the better part of that deal. I'm standing by
that. After 9 games,
I'm just saying at this point, production for this team. What were you getting with CJ? What are you getting out of this young man?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's on the field, he's making catches.
On the field making catches.
Yeah.
And CJ, first of all, had a hard time getting on the field.
Correct.
And at times he looked good, and at times, more times than not, he looked disinterested. And so, and the other thing that was kind of interesting to me is that the Carolina Panthers, they get CJ, and then they turn around and trade for another great corner from the New England Patriots.
Gilmore, yep.
So it makes you wonder,
because they had a corner that got banged up.
Well, I know that.
And J.C. Horn.
But because they traded for J.C. Horn, that's part of the reason why they got CJ.
That's right.
So did they look at CJ for a week or two and go, well, it's not really what we were expecting, and then they worked the trade for Stephon Gilmore?
Well, this goes back. It's for this conversation and this point of the season. Yes, I mean it would be nice if he can continue to contribute at this pace. Dan Arnold, right?
I like what he's doing. I like his athleticism. I like his speed, and I think one thing that we haven't seen yet that at some point we're going to see him in a vertical aspect.
Yeah.
Threaten defenses, and we haven't really seen that yet.
And that's what this offense has lacked. They haven't, Chark's not there. Jamal Agnew's average catch number last week was like 8 yards. He had a bunch of catches, but as long it was like 8.
Well, that was the one thing that
they're all short.
The coaching staff talked about many times throughout the preseason was, speed on the field. And right now, this offense doesn't have a vertical aspect that is threatening defenses, and I think that certainly is having an impact.
Yeah, listen to these numbers. Dan Arnold, 6 catches, 64 yards, a little over 10 yards, just under 11, long of 18, not bad.
Which is about typical for a tight
end numbers. Yep. That's a first down every time he catches. It's fine. Agnew, 6 catches, 41 yards, 6.8 average, long of 8. Austin, 5 for 54. Okay, long of 22 in there. Chenault had the one with a long run after it. And then that's kind of what it is. They don't have any true – I mean, it's a catch and run for Chenault.
Well, you're not having a lot of yards per catch numbers that are up in a higher echelon of wide receivers in the league. And I think two reasons you can go about getting that. One, you throw passes that are deeper, but then also you have an electric receiver that once they catch it, they get yards after catch. And right now, the guy that is getting I don't know this, I don't know the exact numbers, but from the eye test, it's Laviska Shenault Jr. is the one who's really getting the yards after catch, physically running through guys, et cetera. But the rest of them right now, it's a catch and that's about it. They're not doing much with it. I'd like to see that improve.
Then you got to win down the field a little more, too, to get open to begin with.
Well, I think that was one of the things that I thought from watching some of the game film that they didn't do a great job with against Tennessee. Tennessee was not afraid to play man, and when they played man, they covered them up really well. And that's when you get a team that's playing you man like that, and I think that's one of the reasons why Laviska didn't have a lot of targets, didn't have a big number, is because that's the one thing he does exceptionally well in a zone type situation. And man, he doesn't have the great speed, and I think he's still learning how to gain the separation in the route running part, that he doesn't get that great separation. And when you get facing man, a quarterback wants to see separation to throw the ball.
When we return, Logs, we'll get to the Jags defense last week. Communication changes on the field and maybe some issues with some of those communication changes. We'll hear from Caleb on Chazon as well. He had arguably his best career game last week against Tennessee. And coming up at 5 o'clock, the Urban Meyer Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Hard Rock Sportsbook Digital Network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. And by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
We all want to look and feel our best, so why not take the next step with a consultation with Dr. Patrick Basil, board-certified plastic surgeon. Offering a variety of wellness, skincare, and aesthetic treatment options, you can look better, feel more confident, and transform into your best self. They offer the most advanced, innovative treatments in a modern, patient-centered environment. Learn more at TransformJax.com. That's TransformJax.com, or call 904-222-6262. Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here to tell you where to find the most authentic Southern Pit barbecue in all of Jacksonville. That's right, Bono's. For 72 years, Bono's has been smoking real pit barbecue right here on the First Coast. Smoked for hours, served in minutes, and always cut to order. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field. Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
So, it's happy hour. Let's talk whiskey options. Have you tried Citrus Distillers? Have you tried Citrus Distillers Limited Edition 2021 Barrel-Aged Jaguar Whiskey? Did you know it's only available for a limited time and manufactured in Jacksonville? Yes, Jacksonville. I said local whiskey. Try it on the rocks or in a Jack's Whiskey Sour. Citrus Distillers Jaguars Whiskey is available at local liquor stores, restaurants, and the Jaguar Stadium. Drink local, Jacksonville. Find recipes and events at jaguarswhiskey.com.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It don't even matter who has the call. It's just all 11 of us got to be, in sync with the call, and we all got to focus in and haul in on our assignment and just what we plan on the back ends, or what kind of stunt or whatever we're doing in the front seven. So that's just something that we all just kind of over communicate. We preach that on a daily basis, and you can never have too much communication on the field, and we got to keep going with that.
That's Caleb on Chazon. Spoke with the media today at TIAA Bank Field. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Busy schedule at Daly's Place, Logs. Coming up tonight. Yes, tonight. Pitbull with Iggy Azalea. Just the start of, or actually continuing a busy stretch going on at Daly's Place these weeks. But last week was busy again. But Pitbull tonight should be a well-attended show this evening at Daly's Place. And then coming up just a little bit down the line here, it's Three Doors Down on the 14th. You got the Jonas Brothers on the 15th, sold out. Tickets available for the rest at dailysplace.com. Went to Alice Cooper last week, Saturday night.
Did you go?
Fantastic.
Come on.
Still has a fastball.
Really?
Yeah. Did the whole thing.
How long did he play for?
An hour and a half. Something like that. They had an opening act. Ace Frehley was the opener. I missed that.
Who was?
Ace Frehley from Kiss.
Really?
Yeah, I missed that one. I got there in time for Alice.
Fantastic. Did Ace Frehley join Alice Cooper and his stuff? No, it's totally separate.
It was the whole thing. They had the guillotine. They had the dancing baby. They had Frankenstein walk out and feed my Frankenstein. The whole thing. Everything.
That's awesome.
Swords and it was great.
I should have went to that one.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I went. So check it out.
How was his voice? I mean, it's never been great.
No, he sounds great. He sounds just fine.
Not like he had a great singing voice.
It's different, but it sounds like Alice Cooper.
Okay, that's good.
And the band was fantastic. He's got some excellent musicians around him. So check out Daly's Place. Schedule coming up. Really, really good. It has been for the last couple months, man. Just packing them in there. They're continuing to do that. Back to Jaguars defense. We just heard from Caleb on there today. He's coming off arguably his best statistical game as the Jaguars. 6 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, nearly had the sack fumble, but it was ruled incomplete or reviewed and called incomplete. So Chazon was making an impact in the game. There was one play he let the tight end get by him and score the touchdown. That's the one little error Urban talked about.
We've got a graphic up, and for those that are listening on the radio, his stat total from the game against Tennessee nearly equals the stat total from the entire 2021 season, or 2020. Yeah. If you go back, seriously, if you go back and compare his 2020 numbers to what he did this year in this one game, I mean, it's dramatically improved. I thought he was exceptional because he played with speed, he played with power, had a little bit of nasty to him, but it wasn't perfect. When he starts talking about communication in his interview right there, he's one of the guilty parties of not having enough communication on the defensive side of the ball. Michael Pruitt's touchdown catch, you could see that there was some communication going back and forth between him and Andrew Wingard, and trying to essentially say, I got this guy, you got that guy, or no, I got this guy, you got that guy, ball snapped. And somewhere Caleb got lost in that communication with Wingard and did not cover Michael Pruitt, which is one of the plays which, the Tennessee Titan receiver or the tight end in this situation was wide open. And everybody's going, how can that happen? Yeah. Well, it was communication. So something that needs to be cleaned up. But 3-4 defenses are all about the outside linebackers.
Well, yeah, right? I mean, because
That's
they're
it.
doing a lot of different things.
Well, I mean, it can be about the inside linebackers and the safeties. You go back to some of the great Pittsburgh Steelers defenses, and everybody can make an impact. But the people that affect the quarterback that you get off the field with are the guys on the outside. And look at who's in Pittsburgh with T.J. Watt. And they had Bud Dupree on the opposite side there in Pittsburgh for a few years, and they were impacting the game a lot. And so you hope that Caleb can develop, that Josh Allen can get back to where he was a couple years ago. Because to be perfectly honest, neither one of these two guys have been great so far this year. Josh has just been okay. Caleb really hasn't even been okay up until this point, but he had a good game. And I like it because a lot of times as a first-round pick, which is what he was last year, can feel the pressure. And when he gains a little bit of confidence and a taste of success, it can kind of steamroll a little bit and get better for him overall. So if they can get that performance week in and week out of him, it would be tremendous.
This is a Dolphins offense. There are questions at quarterback, of course. We'll get to those coming up. But they have some guys. They've got Gesicki at tight end. They've got Gaskin out of the backfield. They can dump it down to. They've got Waddle with the speed, first-round pick wide receiver. So they've got some pieces on offense, and they can be a challenge if there are still communication issues. Anybody can be a challenge.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, if you have communication issues, you can have a big challenge facing anybody. But here's the reality. If you look at the Miami Dolphins offense, in points scored, total yards per game, rushing yards per game, passing yards per game, they're all the bottom three in the National Football League.
Yeah, well.
That's the reality. And then if Tua comes back, great. I mean, how good was Tua when he was out on the field?
Yeah, they're
not very good.
Everybody's kind of down on Tua all of a sudden. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, the reality is that the rumors have been swirling for a long period of time about Deshaun Watson ending up with Miami, and that, will they work it out? And the Miami Dolphins want him desperately, but they're not willing to pay the price yet. I mean, look, all those things exist because that means that they're not that excited about Tua. If they felt that good about Tua, that conversation wouldn't even be out there at all.
How about the Dolphins, right? The Jaguars have the bye week next week after the London game. The Dolphins' bye week is week 14. They've got to roll through all the way through December 5th as their last game before the bye. I mean, that's –
So they come back and have to get ready for a game.
And they play at home next week against the Falcons.
Well, the one good thing I will say about the London trip, because we've done it before.
Yep.
And the way that they are doing the schedule now to where you're flying out, and most teams now are flying out like on a Thursday. You get there on a Friday morning, you practice, you get a good night's sleep on Friday night, you get another good night's sleep on Saturday night. Don't take a nap when you get there. They take them right to the practice field. That formula seems to work, and they've done sleep studies and everything else to show that that's what's best. Since you play so early, you actually get home that night.
Yeah.
And so you're back in your bed on Sunday night. Now
it's 2 in the morning, but yeah.
It's late.
Yeah.
Okay, now would you need maybe a little bit more rest? JP, it's a heck of a lot better than turning around from Sunday game on the road and playing on a Thursday night game, which teams do all the time.
That's true.
So is it that much to ask for a team to come back and to play a game at home on a return from London? I don't think it's that much of an ask.
Well, I guess my point with bringing that up with Miami is that there's no natural off bye week to address the quarterback thing if they wanted to make a move and do that. You know what I mean? Like there's a game every week, and they're just going to have to go after it whenever they feel like it's time, if they feel like it's time.
I wish the Jaguars had the bye week later. I mean,
it's going to be a long stretch at the end. I'll say that. That's a marathon now.
I mean, it's you always like to have the bye week really to fall right in the middle of the season somewhere.
Well, and we've usually had the London game about week 7 or 8, and then the bye week right after. So it's naturally kind of been that way. It's just a little earlier this year. Let's come back in just a few minutes. We'll get into the Miami Dolphins defense, see what they have to offer. I know you've done your deep dive into the Dolphins tape.
I wouldn't say deep, but I've looked at them a little bit.
Dove in. We'll see. You're wading into the Dolphins tape.
I've studied them a little bit,
good.
and we'll study them more as the week goes on.
Well, we will, and we'll discuss all that when we return. Check out the official Jaguars podcast network on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download your pods. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Hard Rock Sportsbook digital network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by TIAA Bank. Turn potential into progress. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Hard Rock Sportsbook is coming to Florida. Join the Seminole Tribe of Florida and Hard Rock for safe, trusted, and completely legal sports betting. Go to hardrocksportsbook.com to get all the latest details leading up to launch. Play remotely from anywhere in Florida, including on your phone or computer or in person at Seminole Casinos. Want great promotions like free bets, odds boosts, and bonuses? Hard Rock Sportsbook will have all your favorite bets and promotions. Hard Rock Sportsbook, the best place to be a Jaguars fan. Coming soon. Must be at least 21 and physically present in Florida to wager. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-800-522-4700. The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing workforce solutions companies in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI has the resources necessary to scale with any enterprise, yet they are small enough to maintain the agility, personal service, and remarkable experience they've become known for over the past 3 decades. This is your workforce and your business reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com to learn more.
Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field in Valley Park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent sponsored by Alert Today Florida near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secure during the game. When the game is over, return your claim ticket to pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony, Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and Jaguars Game Day broadcasts are presented by ViStar Credit Union. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're along with us this afternoon at 5 o'clock. It's the Urban Meyer Show with the Jaguars head coach joining us as we get ready for Week 6. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, North London. And the Jaguars' first visit to that fairly new stadium, a couple years old now. The Jaguars' previous London games, of course, have been played at Wembley. This is under the NFL's umbrella this year and helping fulfill that 2-game agreement there for the league at Spurs. So it's week 2 of the London series this year, the 30th all-time London game in the international series for the National Football League. And they've actually announced earlier today that there are 3 cities in Germany vying for an opportunity to host NFL games in the future, and Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, and Munich. are the three. So we'll see.
Frankfurt would be. I just remember the NFL Europe, and I called a game in Berlin, and that was a great experience. But I do remember the one thing about NFL Europe: Frankfurt fans were absolutely fanatical about their team. I mean, they traveled and everything.
Yeah.
That was like the best traveling NFL Europe team that there was, I think, and pretty cool. So Frankfurt would be a good place, but who knows?
Yeah. So I think it's a big weekend because
I wouldn't put it in Berlin though.
Well, no, Berlin's not among the cities that are vying for it.
Yeah.
So there has to be a partnership between the league and the cities, and they want that to really be a true partnership. So the process continues, and maybe as early as next season. But maybe 2023 you could have a game in Germany or more. Who knows? But let's get to the Dolphins defense. Christian Wilkins is there, former first-round pick out of Clemson, a teammate with Trevor back on the championship team, by the way. Has a sack, 4 tackles for loss, 4 hits on the quarterback this year. I mean, what stands out about this Dolphins defense? I just started with him because he's a first-round pick and went to Clemson. I mean,
right.
What else do they offer on defense?
I mean, they're very average, to be perfectly honest with you. The 2 categories that you always look at when I start the evaluation process before I even start breaking down the film, because I want to see where they're at statistically, because that doesn't tell all the story, but at least it gives you
where to start,
an idea of kind of where to look at and say, okay, well, they're deficient in this area, so let's take a look at this. Okay. But points allowed in total defense, they're 30th in both categories, and that's not a good number, obviously. So the way they've impacted the quarterback is not great. They don't have a ton of sacks. The one player that I will say that is awesome, and I don't even have to look at the film because his past production has been amazing, which is their corner, Xavien Howard. And Trevor better be careful if he's throwing it around him, because he is an absolute interception machine. But they've got a lot of high picks and guys that, I mean, they've been trying to build this football team through the draft, and obviously Brian Flores is a disciple of Bill Belichick, and he believes in drafting to develop, and they've got a general manager that believes in the same thing. The problem is that they right now don't appear to be developing.
The drafting part's there. The developing is the second
Now, last
part.
year they played well. I don't know what's happened to them, but the play the quarterback obviously has had a big impact. But defensively, they're not even average. And so this is a great opportunity for this Jaguars football team, because they have questions on offense and questions at the quarterback position. And then defensively, they're not great. And obviously Tom Brady just absolutely boat raced them.
Yep. 5 touchdown passes.
And I've watched some of the film, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, guy is 44 years old, and he's standing back in the pocket, and he's throwing just BBs. I mean, BBs. He's got man coverage, and, of course, probably a mistake to play Tampa in man, because they have a lot of talent, and they have more talent because their quarterback is so daggum good.
Right.
And they get that much separation between wide receiver and defensive back, and Tom Brady's like,
zip, 2 feet
right in there,
right over,
no problem.
Yeah.
So
it helps when you have Mike
tremendous
Evans
game.
and Antonio Brown and those guys running around to help you. But I'm with you. That's how they got carved up a little bit last week. If you're the Jaguars offense this week, how many touches are you giving James Robinson if you're Darrell Bevel?
I think a lot of it depends on the success of the offense overall. And I think that's seriously, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd love to have James Robinson with 25 touches. 25 touches, 20 rushes on the ground, let's say 4 or 5 receptions, somewhere in that range. And he hasn't been there yet. But you also have to have success as an offense to be able to put plays together to get him to those types of numbers. And right now, the offense is not doing a great job on third down production. So that's also limiting the number of plays that you get as an offense. They're 29th in the league at third down production. And you got a young quarterback whose completion rate is not great, and he's working on that. So, yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, 25. But can you get there?
Right. It's been it's been a chore to get him even close to there. He hasn't really been close to there yet this season. Now, we just showed a graphic on Jaguars.com. After Monday night's game, he's now moved down to tied 12th in the league in rushing attempts, 67 of those this year, but 4th in the league in rushing yardage. 387 yards on the ground. Last week was his career game against Tennessee in terms of yardage. He had a 58-yard run in there. That was his career-long run. Couldn't finish it, unfortunately. That's been the storyline with Robinson early in his career. But, they didn't give him the ball a lot in the second half, though, and that's really been a talking point this week.
Well, I mean, look, one of the reasons why they drafted Travis Etienne was because of the play that we're seeing in our television right now that James Robinson got caught from behind. If that's Travis Etienne, he's not caught. And so you try to get as much speed on the field as you can, but you can't ignore the production of James Robinson, even though he does not have elite speed.
I mean, I'll take 5.8 yards a carry every day of the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's an outstanding back. We're actually going to look at the play that we're looking at now, the 58-yard run on Jags Wired, I believe.
Yeah, here we go.
Or Jaguars All Access.
One of the above.
One of those two shows, because we're looking at that run, and then we're also looking at Trevor Lawrence's 4-yard touchdown run and how angles and numbers always factor into successful play calls.
Sources say it's Jaguars All Access. You'll be looking at that.
At the James Robinson run.
Yes.
Yes.
There's so many. You dig into so much film and tape that it's hard to keep it all together.
It's a really neat blocking scheme on that James Robinson run. Not to get too technical, but just a little teaser. If you watch it on Jags Wired, you'll learn about combo blocks. And combo blocks means that you're using a combination of of your people to block two of theirs. So it's a pretty cool concept.
All right. Two guys blocking one and then opening up.
No, two guys blocking two. And it's just sometimes it depends on how they move as to who blocks who. So you'll learn about that.
I'll have to watch.
Well,
maybe I'll learn something.
I think you might.
I think I will.
Maybe.
Who knows?
But you're sometimes hard-headed. You might not learn.
Oh, I'll learn.
Good. I like it.
I'm here to learn.
You're coachable.
Always, man. Always getting better. That's how that works.
But I love James Robinson. I do. I think the disappointing thing for me in that ball game, and I totally understand that you're trying to rotate guys, keep them fresh, keep them strong. Defensive line, obviously, that goes without saying, and also running back that well, you would like to, especially the more plays you get as an offense. But in the second half, where James was being rested and Carlos Hyde was on the field, and then you had that big long play to LaVisca, 58 yards, and then you had a situation where you got 1st and goal at the 5. I was sitting there going, okay, put James in. What's wrong with him? Is something wrong? I mean, this game is about players and having your best players in the best position to win. And I believe that James Robinson should have been on the field on 1st and goal from the 5. He's arguably your best player. And
was he out of gas at that point?
No. He had been out for like 4 plays, and then also the Titans offense was on the field, so it wasn't like that he was gassed.
He had not run for 58 just then.
No.
Yeah, right.
So because he's your best running back, and when you get in a scoring position, get your best players out there and execute. And he wasn't given that opportunity, and that was disappointing to me.
When we come back, we will touch on the Dolphins quarterback situation. Jacoby Brissett, Tua Tagovailoa, or others. We'll get to the Baptist Health injury report and take a look at the AFC South as well. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. No wonder it's the official truck of the NFL and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Hard Rock Sportsbook Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Hey Jaguars fans, it's always game on with Dunkin's $2 medium hot or iced coffee Tuesdays for rewards members. The NFL season is more than just what happens on game day. That's why Dunkin' wants to get you through the game week too. During football season, the best call is always Dunkin'. Whether it's the morning after a late night game or getting hyped for the week to come, pick up a cup of your favorite coffee and tackle the day with Dunkin'. Join today and order ahead of the Dunkin' app. Jacksonville Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limit 1 per week.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Tuesday afternoon. It's Week 6. The Jaguars are headed to London to face the Miami Dolphins at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's a 2:30 London time kickoff. That's 9:30 in the morning here. We'll be on the air at 6:30 a.m. with the Publix Tailgate Show.
Coffee time. That's an early wake up.
Yes, it is. So we'll,
I don't mind.
We'll be here doing it. Doing the Publix Tailgate Show.
That might be a thermos game.
A thermos game?
Yeah, you bring a thermos of coffee in on top of just my normal
just coffee?
cup.
Just coffee?
Just coffee.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
Just coffee, and you're buying breakfast, right?
Allegedly, I am. Veterans, choose VA for the benefits you've earned. Visit choose.va.gov. Let's get now to the Baptist Health Injury Report, changing health care for good. And today, unfortunately, Brandon Linder placed on injured reserve. You don't have to designate if it's for the year or not. Urban Meyer Monday said it could be 4 to 5 weeks. With a high ankle issue.
Well, he said they're looking to get him back.
Yeah.
When he talked to the media the other day, he said, we think we can get him back. So that's a good thing.
Right. So there's.
Will that happen or not? I mean, only time will tell. But, their hope is that they can get him back.
He also said Monday that Tyson Campbell, rookie corner, is day-to-day. We'll see how the week goes with him with the toe. He missed last week's game.
He tested the toe out because it's a toe. He tested the toe out before the game, and I watched the warm-up that he was having with the medical people and his position coach, or actually it was actually the safeties coach, because the cornerbacks coach was out with COVID for that game. And you could clearly see that he was not ready.
Yeah.
And will he be ready this week? We'll see.
Yeah. Miles Jack came out with what was called a hip issue, but Urban said on Monday it was an oblique. Same thing. See how the week goes with him, and move on.
Yeah, here's one thing I think that you kind of consider, too, is that you have a bye week next week. So with some of these injured guys, you can say, okay, there's two ways to look at it. One is to say, well, if he plays, well, then he's got, a whole week off and can rest, et cetera. The other philosophy is, hey, look, if he rests this game and then he gets the bye week, then maybe we can put some of this injury business behind him.
Yeah, right.
And that he'll be fine for the rest of the season. So there's kind of two ways to look at that. And if it's something that you can avoid it being nagging, then you go ahead and try to not have the player play in this game because you're going to get the additional time off because of the bye week.
Let's take a look at the AFC South standings, as gruesome as they are right now. Ugh. Tennessee 3-2, Houston 1-4, Indy 1-4 after their loss last night. They lost a 3-score lead in the second half, and then the Jaguars at 0-5 at the bottom. Let's take a look now at the results from the weekend. Of course, we know what the Titans did here, 37-19. Patriots over the Texans, but Davis Mills had a pretty good game, actually. 3 touchdowns for the rookie quarterback, 21 of 29. And then Lamar Jackson was fantastic for the Ravens last night in a rally, 442 yards, 85% passing, 4 touchdowns.
That's unbelievable.
And Carson Wentz was good, too, on the other side now, over 400 yards himself.
Yeah, but he wasn't Lamar Jackson. When I went to sleep, the Colts had a comfortable lead. And I wake up, and Calais Campbell, Lamar Jackson are being talked about. I'm like,
Calais had a blocked field goal. That field goal would have made it a 2-score game and pretty much iced the game. He blocks the field goal. They go down and score the game-tying touchdown on the drive after. It was unbelievable.
And here's the crazy thing. You couldn't be happier for him.
I love it.
Love the guy.
Love it.
Love the guy, total pro.
He played here for 3 seasons, and I was thinking about this after he blocked the field goal last night. He's 4th in franchise history in sacks. I mean, and he was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, first-team All-Pro, went to the Pro Bowl. Like, he's one of the all-time great Jaguars in just 3 seasons here.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I just wish there was a way that you could have found to keep him. Find a way to keep him. I mean, but just the guys like that, I mean, are great examples for everybody that comes in the door, and for young players to come in and learn from. I mean, Josh Allen had. And he'll look back at this, and I know he greatly appreciates the time that he was able to spend with Calais Campbell, and you just wish that you had more other young players to be able to have that benefit as well. But, I mean, it's a game, and it's a business, and, money's a factor. Totally understand all those things, but there's certain things that you can't put a number on. And you got to have guys that can show you the way. Because that's so important in this league because it's a tough league.
Yeah. If he would have played in that defensive scheme the Jaguars had in those 3 years, his whole career, and put up the numbers, an average number, 10 double digits, he's looking at the Hall of Fame. He's a bit shy statistically now, but he's come on late.
He also developed. I mean, he just continued to develop as he was a player, and he was a little bit stuck in a scheme that played a true 3-4 that didn't take advantage of some of his skill set as a defensive end.
Yeah, in Arizona, right.
And, wow. I mean, when
– got here.
I'll just never forget the first time that he gets in a live game and you go, oh, my goodness.
It's different.
He was so powerful that even the strongest guards in the league couldn't stop him. It was like a barge or a big ship coming into port, and it's out of control, and it just plows through everything, and that's how he was.
Yeah, it wasn't like he's just some big fat guy running through. He's 6'8", he's got leverage, and he's just stout. I mean, it's just hard to handle.
I've never there's only a couple guys that I've ever felt small around.
Right.
I mean, I'm 6'6", 6'5.5", somewhere in that range.
You're not 6'6".
6'5.5".
Stop it. That's not 6'6".
6'5.5".
It's not 6'6", though. You don't round up. Either you are or you aren't 6'6".
Well, at one time I measured 6'6".
Okay, you're getting a little older now.
When you get older, you actually shrink when you get older. There's truth to that.
Okay.
But there's only a couple guys that I have ever felt small around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking like felt small. 2 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Baselli was, not really. John Ogden was 1.
Mm.
When you stand next to John Ogden, you feel like you are a midget compared to him. I mean, just like small, skinny, everything about him.
Right.
And then the other one was Calais. Because, I mean, here's a guy, I mean, it's just physically bigger than you. and it's not like they're pumped up. You know, what I mean by pumped up is that there's a lot of guys that, I'll give an example. The offensive lineman that plays for the Buccaneers now, Josh, played here for a number of years, 72. Josh Wells.
Wells. Yeah, Wells.
Wellsy, okay?
Yeah.
Wellesy's a guy kind of was like me, you know, kind of a skinny kid, and then he lifted weights, and he would eat a lot of sandwiches and drink protein shakes and lift more weights and do all that stuff to get big. Clay's was just big.
Yeah.
John Ogden, I mean, his poor mom and dad that had to feed him, oh, my God.
Yeah, large.
Just naturally big people.
6'8", about 315, 320.
And Calais
and ripped.
is the classiest, one of the classiest guys I've ever met. And there's guys in the category, and I think of Calais Campbell, Darrell Smith, Mercedes Lewis. I mean, great Jaguars that had a class about them. I mean, I'm talking total pros, great examples to the young players. And there's other guys that I played with that were great players, and they had to learn that. But, I mean, these guys, when they came in the door, that's how they were wired. And it was impressive to be around those 3 guys, and I appreciated them for everything that they contributed to the organization. And I think all 3 of their times were cut short here a little too early.
All right, final thoughts about this game coming up Sunday. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Jaguars have dropped their last 2 trips to London. They lost to the Eagles in 2018. They lost to the Texans in 2019. They were blown out by the Texans. They turned the ball over the last 4 possessions of that game, in fact, against the Texans defense that day. And, of course, the London game was not played last year. The Jags all-time 3-4 at Wembley. They're playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against a Miami Dolphins team. And really, both teams are up against it. They need a win in the worst way. The Jaguars have dropped 20 straight. That's the 3rd longest losing skid in league history. The Dolphins have dropped 4 straight after winning their opener. They've got quarterback questions. If you're the Jaguars, which Dolphins quarterback would you rather face Sunday? Brissett or Tua?
I mean, it's an interesting question, Brissett. I mean, neither one of them have played exceptionally well. The mobility of Tua would be a concern for me. Brissett's more of a classic, stay in the pocket. He's got good arm, and I don't think he's a great franchise type quarterback, but I think he has some skills that he's a really good backup at times. But I just the unknown with Tua and the mobility factor. If he has that adds another element for the Jaguars defense to contend with. And we've seen the Jaguars have a hard time stopping quarterbacks that can extend plays and having issues with that. That would concern me with Tua. Not that he's going to be able to do it. I know you love him, JP, because he's an Alabama guy.
It doesn't matter anymore. But, like, if he's in there,
but
you got to go hit him because he's got rib issues.
I can tell you this. If he's in there, you are taking every shot that you possibly can take at him, and then some. And then I hate to say this, but I would even be taking borderline shots.
Oh boy, here we go. Don't say that. We're legal over here.
I would.
We're legal over here.
I would.
Well, you might, but we're legal over here. These Jaguars.
I mean, look, it's if you can make them think about it a little bit, what's wrong with that?
We'll see how healed these ribs really are.
Look, and you better get around his ribs. I mean, first of all, you got to get around it. So that means you got to beat somebody.
True. We've had some issues on that front
but
from time to time.
If you're Caleb Chazon or Josh Allen, and when you have an opportunity and you're closing in from behind, them arms are coming in shoulder, going right in that rib section.
That'll do it for Jaguars Happy Hour. Coming up on the Jaguars Radio Network, it's the Urban Meyer Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach, recap last week's game, look ahead to the London matchup for the Jaguars against the Miami Dolphins. That's coming up in just a few moments. In fact, this has been Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Hard Rock Sportsbook Digital Network.
Own this thing. It's ours. Come on, let's go. Duval County in 904. Let's own this stadium. Make it ours.
Welcome to the Urban Meyer Show. Urban Meyer Show. Former Jaguar Jeff Lageman and JP Shadrick discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Urban Meyer Show starts right now.
And welcome into the Urban Meyer Show on this Tuesday afternoon. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, head coach Urban Meyer, as we recap the Week 5 loss to the Tennessee Titans. Coach, good afternoon to you, and let's look back at this thing. There were a few key moments early in that first half this past Sunday. Could have been a tighter halftime score, and then the opening drive for the Titans really put them ahead by 3 scores. There was a little rally in that late third into the fourth, but just not enough to put together a full game last week.
Yeah, I thought the energy was great, and then all of a sudden, bang, we have a turnover, a fumble that went for 6 that we all felt that was not a football move, and the ball should have been incomplete. Let's keep playing, but we didn't. But the best part of that was Trevor and showing his maturity, the direction and identity of our offense. I'm very pleased with now, and I've said this many times that the goal of our offense is to be balanced, 250, 250, and I believe threw for 250 and we ran for 200. So we're getting close, and the offense line, now we're down 2 starters, but our offense line has been very consistent. Our backs ran very hard. James had an excellent day. Downfield blocking was good. And then Trevor, like I said, his progress has been very obvious and continues. So I really like the identity of the offense. And after that turnover, you go down and you score, and then we missed a darn extra point, but we're right back. We're right back in it, and that was a long, long drive and very physical drive running the ball.
I thought that drive that was the answer to the fumble that Arnold had, I thought was very impressive. You got a 58-yard run by James Robinson that set it up, which was an outstanding effort by James, but also the blocking up front was tremendous. I mean, you never want to start a game with a turnover, Urban, but the way your offense answered to get it back, I thought was significant.
Well, there's a lot of ways to measure, Jeff. You know this as well as anybody, especially I know what kind of player you were, is the character of your team is when you get smacked right in the face, and we got smacked. And to see the O-line come out there and, you look at this game and you really felt like we controlled the line of scrimmage. We held one of the best backs in the NFL to held him in check for a good portion of the game. And then offensive line-wise, we ran the ball, and ran the ball for 200 yards against good defense. So that usually indicates you're going to win. But we couldn't get them off on third down. We got beat man coverage. We had a couple missed assignments. And whenever you give up 7 points like we did to start the game, that's tough to overcome.
That 58-yard run by James Robinson, it really involves the offensive line having combo blocks. And Urban, many people talk about linemen's ability to get to the second level, and Leonard was able to get up on one linebacker, and then Barch and Jawan Taylor were able to take the defensive tackle up to that second-level linebacker on their side. I mean, James Robinson, I like to say what a great read he had, and it was a great cut. But, I mean, that combo blocks by the guard center on the left and then the guard tackle on the right were big time.
Big time, man. Like you said, the fine line is don't release the downs too early. And for the listeners, the downs is obviously the defensive lineman. And that's the skill. How long can you hold it down? And here's the thing that James does very well. Jeff, he actually makes that block for the lineman a lot of time. And we would always say, you're a jump cut player. You don't take open seams because open seams aren't really open at times. You stay behind that double team as long as possible because that draws the backer to the lineman, and they're doing that very well.
Head coach Urban Meyer with us on the Urban Meyer Show. Staying on the offensive side here, Dan Arnold had 6 catches in the game, 64 yards. 2 other tight ends had a catch, including Hollister for the touchdown in the first half, and working those guys in. And you talked about it last week when Arnold showed up. He had a couple catches, showed a little burst. He was a big piece of the offensive plan last week.
He is. He's a unique skill set. You know, the whole mentality of offense is obviously balance, but also matchups. And he's a legitimate matchup guy. He's a hurdler in college. He's still got a lot of football ahead of him, and we identified him. And he was my favorite tight end in free agency when we were going through it. I just love his athleticism. I love his speed. And, you know, you figure that's when you have 3 receivers and a tight end, your 4th best cover guy on defense is usually locked on your tight end. And he's a good matchup for that.
An opportunity to make a takeaway defensively. Shaq Griffin has that ball right in his hands, and he's had a couple of them this year, and that one was tough just because it could have been nothing but green pastures out in front of him on his way to the end zone. And that's got to be tough. I mean, a defense right now that's struggling to find a way to get takeaways, to have a missed opportunity like that hurts.
I can't say that I ever remember being in a situation like this, and that is that there have been opportunities, and we haven't capitalized on it. And then you go out to practice, and we have turnover circuit. They're chasing, you know, because a lot of it's offense, defense during practice, chasing the guys, trying to punch the ball out, rip the ball out. And the game of football is you got to make your own opportunities, but usually when you get 1, you get 2, then you get 3.
They come in waves. We'll come back in a moment and a little more on the defensive side when we return. This is the Urban Meyer Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa Debit Card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Chantel Chark, wife of DJ Chark. Enter for your chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience with the Jaguars. Imagine being selected as a Jaguar for the day with prizes including a behind-the-scenes tour of the stadium, a personalized Jaguars jersey, club-level tickets to a Jaguars home game, and more. Look for details at Publix, where you can pick up all your game day needs, including Tide, Bounty, and Crest. Tackle everything in one stop. Available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Any repeated physical activity puts stress on the body. Checking your phone, getting in the car, sitting at your desk, checking the phone, getting in your car, sitting at your desk, checking your phone for the 50th time today. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
Regular body work makes the body work with massage, skincare, and stretch. Come in today for more information or visit massageenvy.com for more details.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show rolling along. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, head coach Urban Meyer. Jaguars game day broadcasts are presented by ViStar Credit Union. We continue on defense. And, you know, looking through the numbers in this game, Josh Allen had a big tackle game, 7 of those, a half a sack, hit the quarterback a couple times. Caleb Chason might have had his best all-around game as a Jaguar, 6 tackles, a sack. Nearly had that sack fumble that we discussed there. You said it was a mandate to get to the quarterback last week. They got home a few times in this game last week, Coach.
Yeah, they got home a few times, but we can always be better. You know, sometimes the combination of pass defense is, especially when you bring 5 If you bring 5, you got to get there. You got to get there in about 1.5, 2.5 seconds because there's no help in the back. You know, your whole players are gone, and it's single coverage across the field. So, yes, there was pressure, especially in that second half, but we can still be so much better.
And the second half, the second Titans drive, which Smoot got the sack, I thought that was a huge play because two reasons. One, it took the Tennessee Titans out of field goal range, and then also your offense answered with a score, unable to get the 2-point conversion, but nonetheless it kind of regained a little momentum there, and that's how sacks can do that. I thought Smoot played really hard.
I do too, and Jeff, the one thing about momentum in our stadium, our hats off on behalf of our team and the staff. I mean, my gosh, the crowd was into it. They were jacked, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and our fans are fantastic. And sacks obviously energize the stadium. You third down and long, and I felt that everybody felt that. I took my headsets off a few times because I wanted to feel that stadium, and we did. And now we got to start answering the bell and get a darn win.
Head coach Urban Meyer with us on the Urban Meyer Show. Staying on defense, one final thought here. That's late third into the fourth quarter stretch after Henry's touchdown run to open the second half. The next 3 drives, defense gets off the field and gave this team a chance to really try to claw back in the game offensively. Unfortunately, we know what happened on the other side. But, it didn't go so well in the first half defensively. And then all of a sudden, when they needed to, they had some stops in some key moments. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for the defense in this game.
It did not, but the defense gave us a chance. When the offense hit Laviska and he took it all the way down there, and we get down to the 4th and 1, you score there, now it's a 5-6 point game. And I like all of Jacksonville. I can't wait to see that number 16 with the ball in his hand to go win a game because I think he'll do it.
In that situation where you ended up falling short on downs, hindsight's always 20/20, Urban. But if you could do it all over again, would you do something differently there?
Well, the conversation of sneak came up, and our coaches on offense felt we have not done it enough live to do that, and of course we missed a block and we didn't score, and that's 2 weeks in a row, and that's something that I'm angry. Everybody's angry. That's you get down there and go score. And we, had a couple opportunities before that one play, and then Trevor's effort was ridiculous on the Q draw, and I thought he was in, and then but you got to score there.
That's a tough one. We're talking about some of the calls, the fumble earlier in the game from Arnold, the ball, empty hand play. There were a bunch of close calls like that in this game, and frustrating because they don't go your way. How do you go about that? Do you take a look again on Monday, Tuesday? Do you talk to the league? How does that work when you're reviewing tape and going through some calls that are kind of up in the air?
I've been through that so many times, and you know what? Move on. You can't. They're not going to change it, and it would be bad as a leader to sit there and worry about that. Make your own breaks. If we get there just a touch sooner, then there's no conversation about it. If you secure the ball immediately after the catch, then there's no, you can control what you can control. And, when I was a young coach, I was nuts about that. And you're wasting all your energy. We call it focused energy around here. All your focused energy is go find a way to, just execute your assignment and go win a game.
And part of focusing that energy is mindset, and that's always a big part of any team's psyche right now. How is your team? I mean, it's not easy losing football games in the National Football League, and you've started out 0-5, and how are they doing from that standpoint?
Well, there's 2 components to winning a game, and one's work ethic, and the other is belief. And if you have belief without work ethic, you just have a team that hopes. You're not going to win because you don't work hard. If you have work ethic without belief, you just have a bunch of hardworking guys, and I believe that's what we've had here. Because you can check the boxes. You guys have seen practice, and our work ethic is really good. Is really good. Now, I know this is a deep conversation, but how do you get belief? Belief is different than faith. Belief is when you see it. I know that Agnew can take that thing 100 yards. You know why? We've seen it. That's why you can see those guys go as hard as they can. I think our 2 tackles, especially Cam Robinson's playing at a very high level. And so the belief that Trevor's going to have time from the offensive line, you can see his comfort in the pocket. So work ethic plus belief is how you're going to win games, and we're still getting through that belief part of it. Can we, do we believe? Do the players believe in each other in this situation that they got each other's back? Once we get that, I think we're going to win a bunch of games.
Urban, when we return, we'll go across the pond to London and look at next week's game against the Miami Dolphins. This is the Urban Meyer Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh. She's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Scrubbing soon to a location near you. You know and love the Scrubble Stars at the Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. Now get ready for 4 new locations scrubbing soon this year, featuring Kernan, San Jose, Racetrack Road, and Oakleaf. Give your car the glitz and glam it deserves at the best car wash in town with free car prep, vacuums, window cleaner, and more. You can also catch us at every Jags home game and cool down at the Scrubbies Misting Arch. Drive in to see us now and in the future at our Scrubbing Soon locations. Scrubbles, trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome back. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, head coach Urban Meyer. The Jaguars are headed to London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to face the Miami Dolphins in Week 6. Well, Urban, what is your history traveling to the UK, first of all? And I know there were a lot of off-season, pre-season meetings and planning and ideas. It's a franchise, obviously, that's done it a number of times throughout the years, but you're new to the process here. Take us through getting ready to execute this trip.
My only opportunity was I was at Notre Dame. We went to Dublin, Ireland, and played, and that was so long ago, and I certainly had zero input. I was a position coach and sit in a seat on the chair on the plane, get there, and coach and come home. So this organization knows how to do it. Brandon Linder and some players were very involved in the process of deciding whether to go out early in the week, later in the week, and we all put together the schedule. The players were very involved in it, and like I said, the Jaguars have a pretty good, obviously very good understanding of this trip.
And it's amazing what has gone into some of those trials and tribulations that this organization has gone through the years to try to figure out the best formula. They're doing sleep studies and everything else that is involved, and I'm sure that you've gathered all that information because it's a wide range of knowledge.
It is, and the key is keeping them awake when you get there, and I remember that from trips to Hawaii when I was in the Mountain West Conference. That's key, so you get good night's sleep. So we're working on things, and but we have. I'm so proud of our sports performance operation here. I think it's the best in the NFL, and we're going to rely on them.
You're getting ready to face a Miami Dolphins team coached by Brian Flores, former assistant coach under Bill Belichick. And the Miami Dolphins have been struggling lately. They've got a different quarterback in than they started the season out with, Jacoby Brissett. But certainly a football team that you guys should play well against.
Yeah, they're going through some similar issues that we're going through. The one issue at the quarterback, Brissett even pulled his hamstring a little bit, but he returned. They have very talented skill on offense. Running, they don't, the rushing attack right now is not strong, but they're throwing the ball pretty decent. Obviously, if Tua comes back, he's a dynamic player. On defense, they got very good players. They have defensive line that's pressures you. But I'll tell you what, the quarterback they faced last week, Tom Brady, when you sit and watch every snap, that quarterback, if there's any argument about the greatest of all time quarterback, that guy's, I'm sitting there breaking down film and I just start running it back on how in the world did he get that ball out so fast? So they ran into a buzzsaw with Tom Brady.
He still got it, apparently. Yeah.
He's better than he was before. Because I've studied him for many, many years. And his velocity, and this is not the Tom Brady show, but he's a good player.
Well, we can go a little longer on it if you like. I mean, it is remarkable to watch that, and obviously that's 20 plus years in the NFL to get to that point and do that. Let's compare a little bit to your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. It's early for him. Obviously, there are small steps along the right path so far early in his rookie season. What's the next step for Trevor Lawrence right now?
I grabbed Trevor. I have such respect for him, and he's got the weight of 904 on him. He's got a franchise. And he's such a wonderful person. I just grabbed him yesterday, and I said, "What more can we? Is there something more?" And obviously, we got to continue to build our team around him. But he's got a great relationship with his coaches, with Schottenheimer. He's seeing the game better. You can see the progress. You can see his comfort. We want to be a mixture of balanced between pro style and also spread, because first of all, it's hard to defend, and second of all, he's very good at it. And he's in a good place. He's not used to losing. I worry about him just because. But he is the most, of all the fortunate that I've coached so many great players, he might be the most composed I've ever been around.
It's great to hear him talk football after a game, before a game. I mean, I could sit there and listen to that guy all day long. So now 0-5 to start the year, Coach. I know the winning results have got to come at some point. You still have the team kind of together? Are they? What was the reaction last week? Getting back to it this week. There's still a lot of football left to be played this season, Coach.
Excellent locker room. Great. It's easy to evaluate a locker room and how they go out to practice every day, how they interact with their coaching staff and amongst each other, and they're there. Now we just got to win a damn game. I mean, we got to, just the details. This in college world, the big bowl games, national championship games, and the rivalry games, is all the detail. The most detailed team would win. And in professional football, it's every week. The most detailed team is going to win, and we're not there yet. And you have new system on offense, new system on defense, but now we're 5 into it. It's time to detail up and go win this game.
Urban, I've got some advice for you. Sleep on the plane going over. You got to sleep on the plane or you're toast the next day.
I got to get some sleep, period, but you're right.
Okay, sounds good, Coach. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Head Coach Urban Meyer out of here. Back with more. It's the Urban Meyer Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa Debit Card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight.
Liftoff.
When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
DG Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
It's been around longer than your quarterback. When you put it on, everyone knows it's game time. So legendary, it deserves its own Hall of Fame. Members-only jackets. Undeniable quality and style for over 45 years. Scratch and claw your way over to membersonly.com. Get ready for football season with a jacket that can only be summed up in one word. Iconic. Use discount code Jaguars at checkout for 35% off on all iconic racer jackets. Members only. When you put it on, something happens.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
We are back. This is the Urban Meyer Show. I'm JP Shadrick. That's Jeff Lageman. That was head coach Urban Meyer. Joining us before the Jaguars face the Miami Dolphins in week number 6. You know, and it's tough. They're on this losing skid. It felt like they took a little bit of a step back as a team this past Sunday, just overall. And now you got to take this long trip together and try to figure it out. Another team that needs it. You know, the parting comment there was, hey, Urban, you know, sleep on the plane. The first night you have to sleep.
Have you?
So you tell like they're fighting to go through it because he's like, yeah, I need some sleep anyway.
Yeah,
So-
you know, look, that's the life of coaching, and when you don't win, that certainly adds to it. And you know, look, and also last week was a tough week, you know, for the organization, for him, and I'm sure that that added to it a little bit. But sometimes a road trip can be good for a team. It's a different look. It's a different environment. It's a way to bond and to spend time together with teammates, et cetera. So hopefully that can be a little bit of this for this football team.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
so
there's you know, sitting on that beautiful Grove estate up about an hour north of London, out in the countryside.
Is that where they're staying
They're at the
at this
Grove,
year?
yeah. And they're staying
Okay.
there both Thursday night. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Friday night, Saturday night, and then going Sunday morning, driving from the Grove all the way down to Spurs to play that game. So,
yeah, I didn't. I always liked it because we stayed there years ago.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't think we actually stayed there. Some of the staff, we stayed at a different hotel. But I always liked it when you fly in and you go literally right by the stadium, but because it's a different venue now, it's different.
That's right.
Because when it was at Wembley, you would go and stay at the hotel that was literally right beside Wembley, and you were right there, and so you didn't have to move. Because I think that's also something that's not perfect, is that you go and stay one place for a little bit, and then you go to another place. I always liked it. Once you go there, stay there, so you don't move, and you're good to go. But it is what it is.
So that's the plan, and they're going to leave Thursday afternoon, get there Friday morning, probably about 6 a.m. We're staying here. We're covering the game here this year to be just straight out there and honest with everybody. And we'll have a pregame show here at 6:30, on the air at 9:30 with a kickoff, and that's
well,
it.
we learned, and look, we can do, I think, a pretty good job with that. We did it all of last year because of COVID protocols. Last year we weren't allowed to travel, and we got essentially the network feeds that were directly to us as broadcasters, and we had multiple televisions with multiple angles, and we were getting the feeds that the network trucks were getting, and it was great. I mean, we could call games and actually see things that at first we were concerned that we wouldn't see. And with the COVID protocols for what would be for us, because we're not a part of the Tier 1, Tier 2 COVID system that the NFL has in place, the challenge of traveling for a broadcast team would be just insurmountable and wouldn't be beneficial, because you would run the risk of essentially going there and then getting stuck in a holding area.
Yeah.
Or number two, not being able to come back.
Yeah. There's
And
all that. There's that risk.
too risky.
And, yeah. You know, from just talking to somebody, a couple folks over there today that are involved in the league office and all that, it seems like it's there's a lot of vaccination there, and it's almost life as usual. Everything's open. Restaurants, bars are open. Things are going back to normal, and they're going to have full capacity at the game.
And if you go back to when all of this was being talked about, you know, in the planning stages of the game, et cetera, I mean, we didn't know that anything would even be close to being open
right.
fully for us. And so that's why, when the plans are made, that, you're making them well in advance. And so we'll be able to provide, I think, a great broadcast, and looking forward to the game. And I think it's a great matchup for this football team because the Dolphins are not playing very well.
Ooh.
And they have questions at quarterback. Their rankings offensively and defensively are all in the bottom 5 in the National Football League. So you have a chance. And if you don't get this one, I think it would be highly disappointing on a lot of different levels.
We were talking that a little bit going into last week's game. But the matchup, hey, if you slow down,
I thought it was a great matchup.
It just didn't end up that way.
I thought it was a great matchup. You had a Tennessee team that was coming off a game that they got beat by the Jets, and the Jets got their first win of the year. And it's not like the Jets are world beaters now. I mean, that was their first victory of the season. Tennessee Titan had an alien offensive line. You had not a lot of continuity with the passing attack with the Tennessee Titans, even though Derrick Henry had been on a roll. But the matchup that I thought was favorable, you do a pretty good job against the run. You can commit to stop the run, and you would get a Ryan Tannehill that if you could make sure that his legs didn't hurt you a ton, the passing attack wasn't going to kill you that the Tennessee Titans had. And then the Tennessee defense I thought was okay, but I didn't think they were great. So I think you had a chance to do some things there. And obviously you weren't able to do it. You started out exactly how you didn't want to start out. You wanted to start fast, maybe get on top and get some excitement building within your own place, and then you end up having a pass that gets coughed up and gets returned for a touchdown. Not exactly how you want to start, but I give the team credit. I mean, they bounced back. They bounced back in a strong fashion, and then you lost a little momentum because you missed the extra point. And then all of a sudden now you get into a battle. And then that second half kind of takes over again, the second half, to where that's been a problem for this football team of coming out and playing well. And the turnover differential of the third quarter gets magnified again this week against a Tennessee football team that, you wanted to be able to come out and do something good right out of the gate, and they just weren't able to stop them.
So that's 0-5 start to the season. It's on to London this week to face the Miami Dolphins, who won their opener and have dropped the next 4 in a row after that. We'll come back in just a moment, Logs, and get into this game a little bit more. We'll see if the Jaguars can run the football. They can. We know they can. Will they run it a little more?
Maybe. I hope.
We'll discuss all that when we come back. This is the Urban Meyer Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire us to deliver on our promise, to do good for our members and our communities. That's why we offer more banking options, like better rates and no hidden fees. We also give back, donating several $1 million to hundreds of nonprofits each year. Better financial lives, stronger communities. VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. Visit vystarcu.org/join. Insured by NCUA.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show rolls along. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Joe Fortunato on the audio. Brent Reber on the video today on Jaguars.com. Thank you for joining us along the Jaguars Radio Network as the Jags prepare for this Week 6 matchup against the Miami Dolphins. The losing skid is now 20, third longest in league history. And if this thing, and it will, for goodness sakes, let's hope it doesn't continue longer, that will become a louder drumbeat nationally as they approach the Tampa Bay Buccaneers number of 26 in the late 70s when they came into the league, and then the all-time NFL record of consecutive losses is 29 by the Chicago Cardinals during World War II. Let's not get to that point yet. I guess
you just kind of talked about it, though. I mean, you got to take us there.
It is the story. I mean, it is a story. It's not the story of this team because this team is 0-5, but it is 25% of that story right now because 5 of the 20 losses have come this year, and that's what it is. It's part of the story, and that's where they are. So you got to snap it at some point, and the best way to do that is lean on your best players. And James Robinson is one of the best players they have on the football team right now, one of the most consistent. He's 4th in the league in rushing yards, has not had as many opportunities as some others with those type of rushing yardage numbers in the NFL. And
which is impressive.
It really is.
Yeah,
it's nearly 6 yards a carry for him.
It's impressive, and you're talking about a guy that doesn't have the touches, and if you compare his touches in the National Football League, it's not like he's 4th in touches to be 4th in the NFL in rushing. So it's impressive. He's an excellent player. He's a total pro, and love how he plays the game and love how he just is so efficient. I think that's the best way to describe him as a runner is that he is efficient. He doesn't waste any steps. He doesn't waste any body motion. All of his energy is propelling himself forward north and south. He's decisive. He's got great vision. And I've said this many times before, he has everything that you want with the exception of one thing, and that's the game-breaking speed. And if he had that, he would be one of the top backs in the league. He would be up there with a Derrick Henry, with a Dalvin Cook in those conversations, and he's probably in a slight tier below those guys. But I still think his efficiency can carry him to being an elite runner in this league for a long time, and I love him. The one thing that impresses me the most, and I've said this before, and a lot of people might criticize me for saying this about comparing him to somebody, but Emmitt Smith and he has a very similar running style to Emmitt Smith. Not comparing them as far as the greatness of Emmitt Smith or the greatness of James Robinson, but just the style of runner that Emmitt was. Emmitt was really good at being efficient, and he didn't waste steps. And then also when he hit the hole, he made slight little adjustments to where those slight adjustments enabled his power to run through things. And that's very similar to what James Robinson does. Great vision. Doesn't waste any steps. He's efficient, just like Emmitt was. He has power running through because he makes little subtle moves in the way he works his way in the hole. Mm-hmm. He sets blocks up, and that's so critical. The 58-yard long run that he had, he actually kind of fakes to the inside and then cuts back out off of the block of Linder and Norwell. And then it's just literally he hits the hole with such great speed that the safety now doesn't even have a good angle because he hit the hole with great speed and great vision and a decisive cut. It's just and on top of that, he's a very good receiver out of the backfield. He can catch the football and he can protect. He does very good in protection. He is a complete back as there has ever been one.
This guy was undrafted, man, out of like an FCS school. Undrafted. And, he comes in the pre-draft process and has a pretty good East-West Shrine game. Really good, actually. Almost won the MVP of the game. I'm like, who is this guy? And then nobody takes him in the draft. And the Jaguars sign him, and he's thrown out there. And all of a sudden, he's the guy starting last year.
I just remember that last year, because we were so restricted about being there at practices and we didn't get to see it like we normally do in a training camp, and with COVID, the situations were completely different. So we really didn't get to lay eyes on them until the lights were on, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all of a sudden they make the move to release Leonard Fournette, and we're like,
really?
Whoa.
Really?
Okay. Which we thought was a extremely
peculiar.
bold move.
Yes.
And we're like, wow. And then we see James Robinson play, and you go, these coaches know what they're doing. They made the right call on that, because James Robinson's a great back. Great back. And Leonard's doing very good things now, and I think probably that might have been –
better woke him up.
It might have been one of the best things that's happened to Leonard Fournette. It put him on a great team that has the greatest of all-time quarterback, who is also, I consider, the greatest of all-time leader in the National Football League. And I think Leonard Fournette has learned a lot. I think he was humbled. He had to compete for where he was at, and it made him a better person, I think, in the long run. And so sometimes things like that work out the better for both. And I think in this case, it really did. It worked out better for both the team, the Jaguars, and also Leonard Fournette.
We'll return with a look at the London history for the Jaguars, 7 previous games. This is the Urban Meyer Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa Debit Card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, Corona Extra is giving you the chance to win big. Be one of 3 winners to receive a VIP game day experience complete with limo transportation, a Jacksonville staycation, and tickets to the Jaguars home game Sunday, November 28th. Enter for your chance to win at jaguars.com/Corona. Must be 21 years of age or older. See full rules for details. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Any repeated physical activity puts stress on the body. Checking your phone, getting in the car, sitting at your desk, checking the phone, getting in your car, sitting at your desk, checking your phone for the 50th time today. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
Regular body work makes the body work with massage, skincare, and stretch. Come in today for more information or visit massageenvy.com for more details.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome back. It's the Urban Meyer Show. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us as the Jaguars prepare for Week 6 They'll face the Miami Dolphins at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Only a couple years old, the stadium replaced the old White Hart Lane Stadium that opened originally in the 1890s and over the years was developed for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and then they finished playing there. The last season was the 16-17 campaign in the old place. Demolished it, built this new stadium on the same footprint on White Hart Lane, and Spurs played for a couple years at Wembley, and it took a little longer than they thought. The league is in on this stadium as well, so there are separate locker rooms for the NFL side and for the soccer teams, and then the soccer pitch actually retracts off the field, and the NFL artificial turf surface stays permanently on the bottom.
Huh.
So there's elevated stands at that point because the soccer pitch is gone now. So it's an automatic, 3-4 feet drop, and it's a show place for American football in London. Is basically what it is.
That Mike Kensel, who when I was with the Jets back in the late '80s, early '90s, he was the director of operations for the New York Jets, and then eventually he moved into the league office. And then one of his big responsibilities was the development of that stadium and also this international series that's been going on for some time. And he told me, and he gave me an audio tour of the stadium, was telling me about some of the amenities that it has and some of the NFL quality stuff that is going into that stadium. And he said it is second to none. He goes, it is top notch. The only thing that it doesn't have compared to Wembley is the number of seats.
Correct.
Because Wembley smokes everybody when
Yes.
it comes to number of seats.
It is the biggest in that country for sure. And for NFL, Wembley seats in the mid-80s, about 84 or so. Spurs is like low 70s, I think.
Yeah.
So it'll be a different environment for the Jaguars. Now, the previous history, of course, Jaguars have played in London 7 times over their history, starting back in 2013. That's one to forget. 2014 was a little bit better, but still a loss. The Jags finally got their first victory against the Bills in a wild game in 2015. They gave up a big lead. Blake Bortles threw some picks in that game, but then he threw the game-winning touchdown to Allen Hurns in the final moments.
Great diving catch.
Got his elbow into the end zone, touchdown, and Jags won that game over the Bills. 2016, the Colts had never been. They're slipping and sliding all over the pitch at Wembley, and the Jaguars won it 30-27. The Ravens didn't want to be there. Jaguars blew them out in 2017, 44-7, and the last 2 the Jags have lost. The Eagles got the best of them in 18, and then the Texans ran away from them in 2019. 3-4 for the Jaguars overall in London, all those games at Wembley Stadium.
I remember the 19 game. That was kind of a game they were trying to figure out about who was going to be the starting quarterback after that, Gardner Minshew, or were they going to go back to Nick Foles? And it was not a strong game by Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, the last 4 possessions were all giveaways.
Yeah,
the Texans
not
defense
not a
closed
good
it out.
outing for him. But here's the other thing: the Miami Dolphins have played across the pond quite a few times too.
They sure have. Yeah.
So this is not uncharted territory for them.
You know, we were going through the roster earlier. Good point. Joe Fortunato brought this up, our radio producer earlier. How many Jaguars have played in London? What do you think about it?
Wait. Who brought this up?
Was it
JP?
Joe?
No,
Oh,
it
no,
wasn't
it was
Joe.
you.
It was me.
I gave away your props. I
It's all right.
apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. Joe,
Either way, but think about it.
But Joe, he spurred me on to the thought.
Not Tottenham Hotspurred you on, but spurred you on. I got it. So there's so many. I haven't played there since 2019. There's been a lot of turnover on this roster since then. You think we went through it, and just a rough estimate of Jaguars that are here, that have been here, there are 20. Well, you think about all the offensive linemen are still around, like the starters and the guys that have been backups, at least historically, are still here for this team. So that's a bulk of them. Didn't have a chance to go through and check, Manhurts and Arnold and Hollister, veteran players who've been around the league. They might have had a stop in London occasionally.
Sure.
So it's at least 20, and it's probably over half the roster once you get down to it.
Well, wait a minute now. If
It could be.
I mean, half the roster. The roster, if you look at it for real, is 53 plus 16 plus the injured guys.
I bet you it's another 5 to 7.
Okay,
because there's so many teams are playing now in London. You have to go.
Well, that math doesn't add up to
Okay,
half
well, I'm not
still.
a math. See,
Okay.
we did this on the show last night in Jacksonville on Jaguars Happy Hour. When it comes to math things,
You're not very good.
Just ask somebody else, okay?
By the way, one guy that we haven't talked about this much yet, but with Brandon Linder going to IR, obviously the valuable backup that Tyler Shatley has been, because you've needed to have him because Linder has had injuries in the past. I think last year he only played in 8 games, and then he played a full season before that, and then he's missed time in the 2 seasons prior to that. Tyler Shatley has been, I mean, literally, arguably, the most valuable backup over the last 5 or 6 years for this football team, maybe, right?
I'd say so, yeah, because Linder has not been out there a full season, really.
Which, well, he had 1 full season a couple years ago.
1.
And 25 career starts for Shatley. So this offensive line is in good hands with Tyler Shatley at the center position.
Think about this. It's a 1-year, $2 million contract for Shatley.
Mm-hmm.
That's money well spent.
Very well spent.
And for him, this is a showcase to, if you go out and play well, then here we go.
I really thought that because last year he had a number of games that he put out there that were really good film games. I thought that somebody would try to hire him as maybe their starter, or would offer him more money to go to their place to be a high-quality backup center guard. He's a better center than he is a guard, but he is extremely valuable just because of Linder's injury history. And so I feel very confident with the offensive line in the hands of Tyler Shatley, and with Tyler Shatley helping a very young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence.
One more timeout. We'll get our final thoughts ahead of this Week 6 matchup. The Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins coming up in London in Week 6. The Jags trying to snap a long losing skid, and this is the Urban Meyer Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and Valley Park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent sponsored by Alert Today Florida near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secure during the game. When the game is over, return your claim ticket to pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire us to deliver on our promise, to do good for our members and our communities. That's why we offer more banking options, like better rates and no hidden fees. We also give back, donating several $1 million to hundreds of nonprofits each year. Better financial lives, stronger communities. VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. Visit vystarcu.org/join. Insured by NCUA.
Great teams leave it all on the field. But with the powerful towing and payload that Ford F-150 delivers, you can take it all with you, too. No wonder Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck 44 years straight. The 2021 Ford F-150, built for greatness. Visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Fans like you have been told that going all out is going too far. But fans like you know better. You're the kind of fan who loves the team as much as your pet, who paints yourself for game days and dyes your pet's fur to match. You are a rare breed. You are a pet fanatic, equal parts pet obsessed and diehard sports fan. At Pet Paradise, they're crazy about pets too. The official pet care provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
Scrubbing soon to a location near you. You know and love the Scrubble Stars at the Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. Now get ready for 4 new locations scrubbing soon this year, featuring Kernan, San Jose, Racetrack Road, and Oakleaf. Give your car the glitz and glam it deserves at the best car wash in town with free car prep, vacuums, window cleaner, and more. You can also catch us at every Jags home game and cool down at the Scrubby's Misting Arch. Drive in to see us now and in the future at our Scrubbing Soon locations. Scrubbles, trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive.
Welcome back. The Urban Meyer Show continues along the Jaguars Radio Network.
We're back bringing it on home on the Urban Meyer Show. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars and the Dolphins. Coming up Sunday, 2:30 in London, 9:30 a.m. in Jacksonville. We'll be on the air on the network at 8:30 with Countdown to Kickoff to get you ready for the kick from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. So
breakfast with the Jaguars.
Yes, indeed. I was looking through, some old, we're talking about this long losing skid. The Buccaneers lost 26 straight, and McKay was the coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, we can't win at home, can't win on the road. What we need is a neutral site. Well, this is as close as you're going to get, I think, in the regular season. It is a Jaguars home game in London, and obviously, joking aside.
It will not be a neutral site, though.
You got to try to crack this streak, break the rock, as Urban says.
Well, it's not easy, and the one thing is for certain that you've got to start and do better in the turnover differential category. If you don't win that category, or at least keep it even, you're not going to win.
How many opportunities you think they've lost on defense to get takeaways? There was the close one last week on
to be honest with you, JP, I mean, there's only been a couple opportunities that have been missed, and that's the part that I think is concerning. Shaq had two really good chances at interceptions that he dropped, and this past game could have been possibly a pick six. One of the chances, because he had a total of three chances, one of them would have been a really tough catch. And but overall, you haven't affected the quarterback enough to get the ball out or force bad throws or errant throws. I mean, there was one throw that Kyler Murray tried to put on it, and Damian Wilson did a great job underneath, and then Wingard was able to make the interception. But overall, where are the caused fumbles?
Mm-hmm.
There's not many. Where are the ways to affect the quarterback that causes these errant throws? Also, scoring differential. If you start scoring points early, then you put an opponent into the position that they need to pass more. Then it puts more pressure on them. Then you can put more pressure on the quarterback. So all these things are kind of required in order for you to make these happen. But I can tell you this, until you start balancing or winning the turnover differential as an organization, you will not win. In fact, the numbers during the losing streak, there have been.
Oh, during the losing, like all 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
36 giveaways. So you're nearly averaging almost 2 giveaways a game. I mean, so you've got to find a way to protect the ball and then also take the ball away from the opponent. And then after that, you've just got to play well. And this team right now, you got to communicate. You can't have mental errors. You can't have self-inflicted wounds. I mean, all these things that you hear about coach speak, it's coach speak for a reason. Because it's a tried and true way to win games if you can accomplish some of the objectives in those categories, and this team hasn't been doing it. Really, especially in the first 5 games, you haven't done it at all.
Take example, the first half last week. Turnover on the first drive, right? Fumble, return, touchdown, boom. They go down and score and seemingly tie the game, but slipped on an extra point. Just a little mistake, whatever, just slipped and missed the extra point, 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Then missed a field goal, hit the crossbar from 53. Those 11 points, I mean, that's the difference at halftime, 11 points.
Well, it's
it only takes a few moments in a game that can turn a game like that.
And then the second half, you got to be better. I mean, that's
coming out of halftime.
Yeah, the third quarter has been rough. The turnover differential in the third quarter last week was -35. Now it's at -42. You got to change it. I mean, you can't come out at halftime and look. You may be without may be without Miles Jack, and you don't know. I mean, you may be without some guys on defense, and you hope that you have everybody ready to go. But I've had an oblique injury before, and which is what Urban talked about it being with Miles Jack, and essentially you're losing your ability to have any power whatsoever because your core is where the injury is. And so you can't translate your lower body power to your upper body, and it makes it very difficult to play football. I've tried to do it. I had it in college one time, and you basically try to shoot it up, or I tried to shoot it up at the time, and you're just hitting a bunch of areas to try to hope you get it. But it's hard. That's even hard in a heart area to inject, and I don't even know if they would even do that.
Yeah, you hear that a lot in baseball. Like guys can't swing or the oblique. It's a twisting
yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, playing linebacker requires a lot of oblique muscle.
Yes.
Last time I checked.
And you're still right. Logs, good stuff. We will look forward to the game on Sunday.
See you at breakfast.
Early bird
Sunday.
special. The Jags and the Dolphins coming up. Our thanks to head coach Urban Meyer, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. We'll catch you next time. The Urban Meyer Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.